It is time for an all-new viewer Q&A, rapid-fire edition. Quick questions, quick answers, inspired by Peter McKinnon. Shout out to Peter for inspiring the format of this video. So let's hop into it and see what you guys wanted to know. What is the longest amount of time you've spent to complete a digital art piece? It was that Edgar Allan Poe piece from the Color Theory video, 18 hours. Best YouTube channels that teach digital art in your opinion. You can start from number 2 because your tutorials are definitely number 1. So number 1, thanks for that. But truth be told, I don't watch other digital art tutorials on YouTube just because I want to stay unique. I don't want to be inspired or influenced by other people. I do watch art channels though. My 2 that I love, shout out to 1000 and Jazza. Check those 2 out. What is your favorite thing to draw? Stupid cartoon animals. How did you learn how to draw? So back in my day, we didn't have the internet, didn't have fancy YouTube tutorials or Skillshare or Udemy, so I had to use those how to draw books. Use those day in and day out and just practiced. Yada, yada, yada. I wonder which drawing tablet is more suitable for a designer as a beginner. I'm sure this is gonna come as a surprise to no one watching this channel, but number 1 recommendation, Apple iPad. It doesn't matter which iPad you get, as long as you can use an Apple Pencil with it. That being said, if you can use an Apple Pencil, buy an Apple Pencil. Don't save money and go with a third-party stylus. It's not the same. Apple iPad. What do you think of Yuengling Light? Also, do you have a favorite cartoon illustration that you've done this year? So Yuengling Light, better than Miller Lite, better than Bud Light, but it's still light beer and light beer sucks. So Yuengling all the way. Favorite illustration from this year? Yes, I've got one, but it's not something anybody's seen online. I didn't post it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or my website. So sometimes if you like something or want to make something for yourself, you don't have to share it with the world. Do you still use your Sketchboard Pro? What do you think about the price? Yes, I use my Sketchboard Pro every single day. I love it. It's changed my workflow for the better. And if you're on the fence, I did a review video on my channel about it. Check it out. Highly recommend. As far as the price goes, I think it's perfect for what you get. It's reasonably priced. So for all you armchair price experts out there, I challenge you right now. Make a product and bring it to market and tell me if this costs too much, because there are so many extra costs that you don't even know. Something I'm dealing with right now. I haven't talked about it on the channel, but I am in the process of making my own product, and it's expensive. So my product, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it's a lot cheaper retail-wise than the Sketchboard Pro. It's less than 30 bucks is what it's gonna hit for, but just the mold for this very simple product that I'm making, the first quote I got for the mold is $35,000 for just the mold. So before you go saying something's too expensive, know what you're talking about. If a bird departs from Orlando traveling westish and a train leaves Chicago on the eve of a storm, I can't remember the rest. The answer is 10. Do you agree? No, the answer is not 10. The answer is 42. The answer is always 42, you idiot. Oh, by the way, give me a call. Hi, I'm your fan from India. My question is that I don't have my grandfather who died when I was 2 years old. Will you be my grandpa in my future birth? Okay, favorite cartoons as a kid or now? Okay, so as a kid, Voltron, Thundercats, Gummy Bears, Shirt Tales, Wuzzles, The Simpsons. Now, The Simpsons, Rick and Morty, Family Guy, American Dad, and Bob's Burgers. Your style is so perfect for cartoons. Have you ever been interested in making one? Yes, I've been interested. Will I? No, because I know you know, and I know they take a lot of work, and I would rather make a bunch of other stuff rather than focusing on one thing. Plus, I'm kind of lazy, so. What helped you to increase your skills? I know it sounds like a cop-out, but draw every single day. Don't take months off. Don't take years off. Draw every single day and try new techniques that you're not familiar with, stuff out of your comfort zone to get better. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Not much, not a fan, so yeah, wouldn't put a lot of effort into it. Who are your top 5 favorite artists? Scotty Young, Bill Watterson, Alex Party, Grizz Grimley, and Coop. How to get rid of the back pain while sitting for long hours on the PC or tablet making digital art. So this is something that I suffered with forever. 2 things that changed this over the past year. Sketchboard Pro, number 1, that and a comfortable chair, but then also exercise. A few months ago, based on the recommendation of Scotty Young, my wife and I bought a Peloton, and working out every single day before I start drawing, riding that bike, oh, it's made so much of a difference in my back pain. Back pain's gone. Don't necessarily buy a Peloton, but just exercise. Can I come over for a day for all of my questions? No. How do you get more clients? Does the constraints a customer puts on a commission design make your creative process more difficult? So these questions, easy to answer for me. I've talked about it before. I don't do client work. I don't do commission work. Zero, zilch, absolutely nada. I only draw stuff for myself that I can sell myself. It's a smarter way to go. Why constantly draw something for somebody else and then have to turn around and draw something else for somebody else when you can draw your own things and sell them over and over again? That's the route I go. Is it right for you? I don't know, but yeah, 0 clients, 0 commissions. I'll just sum this one up. How can I get past the imposter syndrome? Here's the thing, just put your work out there. Don't worry about it, don't overthink it. If you're worried about what other people are gonna say or how they're gonna react, don't worry. The reason why, people are always gonna punch up. They're never gonna punch down. You're never gonna have somebody better than you are telling you suck or to stop. It's always gonna be the people underneath you that are trying to bring you down to their level. So just get off your butt and do it. Which animal is the easiest for a beginner to tackle? Which is the most difficult to get right? Easiest, cat. Hardest, horse. How to find more clients for commission artwork? Basics on pricing work. So decide in advance, kind of guesstimate how long a piece is gonna take you. Take those hours by how much you wanna make an hour. There's your final price. Best POD sites for beginners, Merch by Amazon, Amazon KDP, Redbubble. Why doesn't Ford sponsor you? Shout out to another McKinnon fan. I absolutely loved your podcast and miss it. Do you have any plans to start it back up? Why did the podcast die? Where did the podcast go? Blah, blah, blah. Where's the podcast? So it's all about that return on investment in this case being time. More people watch the YouTube channel than listen to the podcast. Therefore, YouTube's more important. You're gonna see a lot of the podcast related material come over to YouTube this year. We love your style, but who or what inspire you with your cartoonish style? You don't like realistic art or something. So what made you focus on making a cartoony style versus a realistic style? Do you ever do realistic styles on Procreate? So this one makes me laugh because it seems like cartoonists are the only people that get this question. Nobody goes up or asks realistic artists, why do you only draw realistic? Why don't you draw cartoony? It just doesn't happen. And then at the same time, people want to know, how did you find your style? How can I find my style? At the same time, they want to know why you don't work in another style too. It's because cartoony's my style. That's why I don't do realistic. It's because that's the style that I chose to go with, and that's what I do. It's pretty simple. Speaking of, how did you find your style? How did you come up with your drawing style? I've always been drawn to cartooning just because it kind of reflects my personality. I don't take myself too seriously. I don't like to do that pretentious art. I like to have fun with stuff, and that's the style that reflects kind of who I am and my outlook on life, and it makes it easier to draw. When your art is done straight out of Procreate, do you vectorize your art, and if so, for what? I second the vectorization question. Do you upload for merch straight out of Procreate, or do you vectorize first? No, I do not vectorize unless it's gonna be blown up like building billboard size. Otherwise, just make a big canvas from the beginning. You're good to go. Like that Edgar Allan Poe illustration I did, I blew that up to like a 2 foot by 4 foot poster, and no vectorization, no pixelated lines. Looks perfect because I started out big as hell to begin with. When drawing, do you prefer a quiet room or do you listen to music and podcasts? So yeah, no quiet room. I can't do anything in a quiet room, let alone draw. So I've got to have the TV on in the background, either have a movie or a TV show on, or I've got to have music or a podcast. For podcasts, my 2 favorites are Tell 'em Steve Dave, shout out to any ants out there, or My Favorite Murder. And then for music, I think that's the next question. Do you listen to music when you draw? What bands, if you do? What is your favorite music, favorite band? So, huge music fan. My dad is a huge record collector, so I had that growing up. And like I talked about before, my previous life, I did retail store management and managed a record store back in the late 90s, 2000s. So, huge music fan. My first love is rap and hip hop. So back in the day, Run DMC and Beastie Boys, then later moving into Wu-Tang and Tribe and Redman. Now, Kendrick, Run the Jewels, A$AP Rock, Gambino, but very eclectic music taste. That being said, a huge lover of rap and hip hop. Let's take a look at some of my most recent vinyl purchases, starting with the newest Taylor Swift. We also have the Jack Ingram, Miranda Lambert, and John Randall Marfa tapes. We've got Landon Tour's newest album. We've got a reissue of Electric Frankenstein. We've got the Lords of Salem soundtrack, and we also have Social Distortion's Greatest Hits. So that gives you an idea. It's all over the place. All right, guys, so that's it for the rapid Q&A. Thanks so much for submitting your questions. I wanted to keep this under 10 minutes, so if I didn't get to all your questions, I apologize, but maybe there'll be a round 2 of this coming up soon. As for me, I can be found online, bjaydell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjaydell. Also, if you haven't yet, I've got a group over on Facebook for artists called Keep Creating, a group for artists by artists. I'll link it all down in the description. That's it for today, and until next time, keep creating.